Michelle, and happy New Year's Eve to you. I am here with the Country Craft Creations 2019 New Year's Eve crop, and I'm really excited to be here. Last year I watched the crop and participated along, but this year I actually get to be part of helping to make the crop for y'all, and I'm really excited to be doing that. I'm having so much fun with this group, and I am so looking forward to what this group has in store for me for next year. I'm just having so much fun. Today, for my part of this crop, we're going to be making a recipe album. Now, the theme of this crop tonight is preserving our memories and documenting our memories for 2020. This album will do it for that and beyond, because you can add to it. So the theme of this album is a recipe album. Whenever we have family get-togethers, they always surround food. So, we just had Christmas celebration and we had some traditional Christmas foods. Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day, whatever it is that your family gets together and celebrates, that, surround food, that's what we're going to be doing. So you're going to have pictures or places, for pictures. You're going to have places for your recipes. You can gather recipes from family members that bring them. So like, for example, my mom always brings a potato dish that we have called Gracie's Potatoes. That recipe came from my husband's stepmother, and that's what we call it. So whenever we have a family get together, my mom brings that. So you can preserve those recipes in this album, and you can sort them by category if you'd like. So if you saw my walkthrough video, you'll know what I'm talking about. We're going to make it today. So again, I'm using the Home Again line from Carta that I was given in my design team package. And I have to tell you really super quick, I didn't have a whole lot left over from my other projects that I made. So I wanted to show you something really quick. I talked about it a little bit in the video when I did the walkthrough to kind of show you what we're going to do, but I also wanted to show you this real quick. So like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of paper left over. I had lots of scraps, and these are left over from the pages that I made. I made 12 by 12 pages, and I'm going to show a picture of that really quick. So you can see that. And what I did was I took the pieces and I pieced them onto a 12 by 12 piece of paper and created my own 12 by 12 paper that was kind of a collage. So if you, these are, pieces, you can obviously tell that. But so I had a big 12 by 12 piece left over, and then I was able to cut those apart and use those pieces for my project, which gave me more paper to use. So I was pretty excited to do that, and one of these days what I should do is do a tutorial on how I did that, so that if you guys have a project that you're working on and you just don't have quite enough 12 by 12 paper for that, I can show you how to use these scraps to create your own 12 by 12 papers, and then you can have a patchwork piece that really works well. These pieces could be cut into tags, which I think is what I'm going to do, and add those to the book. But anyway, let's get started. So the first thing that we are going to need, we're going to need a couple pieces of chipboard. These are going to be the covers for this. They're both measuring 7 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I already went ahead and prepared my boards with the score tape. And then you're also going to need 2 pieces of cardstock that measure 9 1/4 by 7 1/2. So they're basically 2 inches bigger than these, because we're going to want that overhang to wrap our boards. And so we've seen this before. Once again, I'm going to put out a list of everything that you'll need, and if you have these things ready, then it'll go pretty fast if I can get the backing off the score tape here. Alrighty, so I'm going to just kind of center this in the middle here on both pieces, and we're going to wrap our boards as we do traditionally. Now, the other thing you need to know about this album is that wow, if I can get this off, that would be amazing. The other thing you're going to need to know is that having your pattern papers ready to go to cover your pages is going to be really, really helpful for you because the binding for this book, we're going to punch holes with our Crop-A-Dile, and you're going to use a simple binder ring in order to bind your project. Okay, so this book does not have our traditional spine with the pages that are stuck to it. This is going to be bound with binder rings. The binder rings that I'm using, and I will show you that in a little bit, are 2-inch binder rings, and you can get those from any store, you know, office store, Office Max, Office Depot, Staples, whatever, that sells, you know, office supplies. And they're not very, very expensive at all. They're actually pretty cheap. So, but 2-inch, this book is going to turn out big, and so then, you know, that'll be a good size, and then it'll also give you some room to grow. So you saw what I did here, and I've done this before. I go on the outside of the chipboard, and I just run my bone folder through, or not through, but along the edge of my chipboard, and then that kind of trains it to fold the way I want it to fold. Okay, and then I just kind of help, you know, move it along by doing that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to grab your score tape, and you're going to need some scissors, and we're going to just wrap this. And I'm not going to go all the way to the edge because we're going to cut the corners off with my method of how I wrap my chipboard. So we're just going to put score tape along the edge of the cardstock or the chipboard, and then we're going to put it on the edge of the cardstock here. A friend of mine, her mom watches my videos, and she says I am the fastest score tape tearer in the West. I thought that was pretty funny, but I love score tape. Score tape works fabulous for these projects, for wrapping your board. And it's real important to, on the other side of your chipboard, to go ahead and cover the whole thing, and that way your paper won't buckle on the cover, because sometimes if you miss a spot, then it can tend to do that. All right, so I'm cutting my chipboard. I'm just making a rough 45-degree angle. It doesn't matter. We're going to cover this with pattern paper, but you want at least 1/8 of an inch, and I've got a little bit more than that, but you want at least 1/8 of an inch between the corner of your chipboard and the cut to your cardstock. Okay, so once you do that, and we're going to do this again with the other one, and we're going to try and get this book done, and then you know, within my time frame, and then you can decorate it as you want. So then I just turn it and stick it down, and my little mantra for doing this is top, bottom, side to side. Our album is going to be a landscape kind of presentation, so this will be my top and this will be my bottom. And then I turn it and I nudge it in with my thumb, and then that covers the chipboard, and then fold it over, and there you go. And you can see your corners are nicely covered. You have a nice little fold there. All right, and there we go. Okay, so our first cover is done. Let's do this again. You already saw me go around the outside. Just very gently feel your chipboard, and then very gently run your bone folder around the outsides, and then that'll help train it to go the way we're wanting it to go. I should say I am using Artisan Cardstock in Ivory, and let's see, what did I do with it? Here it is. And again, we're going to just put our score tape on here. Just like so. I hope y'all are having a really good New Year's Eve. This is being taped. I'm sorry I cannot be with you live. This is the first year in I can't even tell you how many years that we actually are going out on New Year's Eve. My husband is in a classic rock and roll band, and they play 60s and 70s classic rock, and he has been asked to play tonight for a New Year's Eve party. So I am going to be doing that and dressed up in my finest tie-dye, so this is going to be awesome. But I'm really glad I get to participate in this. Last year was the first time I got to participate in the New Year's Eve crop as far as being a learner and an observer, and now I actually get to help do the classes, so I'm pretty excited about that. All right, so we cut our corners. We have at least 1/8 of an inch here. I'm going to take off our score tape and do this. And then we're going to fold it over, top, bottom, side to side. Make sure that gets stuck down. Okay, I'm going to nudge in my corner. You can also nudge it in with a bone folder or whatever. I use my fingernails a lot. It's like the quickest tool to use for me. And then just make sure that's down. And nudge that in around the corner. And then fold that over. And we are good. We are good to go. All right. So then what we are going to do, let me find my pieces here. So I was showing you, we're going to go ahead and put the covers on. So I was showing you that I had used those papers, and I made more 12 by 12 papers that I could cut these out of. So I have my pieces for my front and my back cover. So they're going to be cut at 7 1/8 by 5 3/8, and that's going to cover our front and our back. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab my art glitter glue here and put that on there. Now what I did was, I can talk to you about this. I have lots of scrap 12 by 12 paper that I use, and when I'm doing like prototypes and trying to figure out measurements and stuff, I use that because, you know, I don't want to use all of my, excuse my reach here, grab my gauze here. I don't want to use all my good artisan cardstock for my practice pieces. So I grabbed one of those pieces, and that is what I layered all of these pieces on. And just kind of however they fit, and trimmed some if I needed to make them fit in a spot. And I started in one corner and just kind of worked my way across the page. And it was real random, and I think it turned out really awesome. I had so many little teeny tiny scraps that I couldn't really do a whole lot with. But once I got done doing this, I actually had enough to make 3 12 by 12 papers, which was exactly what I needed to finish the album. So that was really cool. All right, so front and back cover on the outside, and then we're going to do front and back cover on the inside. See how super cute this turns out? Just make sure that the paper orientation is the right way. You don't want your designs going wonky on you. So again, all of this information will be in the cutting guide so that you can have all of these pieces ready, and then we can just put them together and get them done. All right. All right, so I'm going to keep that label on there so I just remember which one I decided I was going to do for inside and outside. And as you can tell, I have also inked all my papers. You definitely do not have to do that. But if you're going to ink them, that part can be pre-done as well. All right, so there's that. Okay, so our covers are done. So we're going to have our front cover is going to be there, and our back cover is going to be here. Now we're going to create an element to go on the front cover. And what I am doing is I am going to use one of my cut-aparts that I trimmed just a little bit, one of my 4x6 cut-aparts. It says, "Welcome to our home." I thought that would be a perfect fitting title for this album. And I'm going to be using, and let me find these, I got these photo corners in my design team kit, and they're by Graphic 45. Now I used the first ones on the folio and they laid flat. These have a raised edge on them, and so I was trying to figure out, they're really hard to bend. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 3 layers of chipboard and then use those on the corner to kind of frame this. So I've got 3 layers of chipboard here. Now you do not have to do this. If you want, just use 1 layer of chipboard because that will create a nice dimension. So if you have the corners that have the sides on them, you'll definitely need to beef them up a little bit because otherwise they're way too, you can see that they kind of overlap the chipboard, but 3 layers will fit within that space just perfect. So again, if you don't have those corners, or you don't want to use those corners, or you are going to use like flat corners, you can just use 1 piece of chipboard and wrap it, and then just set that on there. But I'm going to beef this up just a little bit. Now these layers here, these were 4x6, and then this is a 4x6 journal card that I cut down a little bit because I'm going to put this onto here. So I put some score tape on the back of these, and then I'm going to take that off, and we're going to wrap this again just like we did the covers. It's going to be a little bit thicker, but that's okay. This is going to work out nicely. All right, so again, I'm going to try and find the edge here, and I'm going to just gently kind of tease that around. Okay. Just like that. All right, it's a little bit thicker. It'll be a little more wonky, but it's going to work out just fine. And then just go ahead and finish the job of kind of wrapping that around like that. Then we're going to grab our score tape. We're going to do the same thing here. And this is just going to be a really pretty decorative cover for, or decorative piece for our album cover. And I really, really wanted to use those corners. I just thought they were so pretty, but they are definitely on the thicker side. So you need to have it on a thicker base, like the corner of a thick frame or a box, maybe. And those were given to me in my design team package. So I'm going to take those off. Boom, boom. And top, bottom, side to side again. Now here's another thing. Since this is so thick, we probably should put like a line of glue. Now I don't often do this, but this would be a good idea since it is 3 pieces thick. Oh, you know what else I got to do? I got to cut the corners, which I didn't do. All right. Little bit bigger than 1/8 of an inch between the chipboard and the corner because it is a little thicker. Okay. So we're gonna do that. Wrap it around. All right, and then squish that down and wrap it around. Okay. Make sure that's stuck really nicely. And then again, we're just going to nudge that in. put a little bit of glue here and wrap it around. There we go. All right. Then nudge that guy in. All right. Okay. There it is. Okay. Then I'm going to simply just get our element. We're going to glue that onto the top. I just love this paper line. I just wanted to use every last bit. So now I really hardly have anything left over. I think I've exhausted all my possibilities with this kit. It was really, really fun to use. Really was. All right. And then this art glitter glue works super good for putting the element on. So I'm just going to put a little glue in here and I'm going to stick it in the corners. As we do this, to help it, okay, so just like that. All right, so any kind of clamp that you have will work. I can't remember where I got these, but they're very, very cool, and they work really well. This is done. We've got our corners on. I've got clamps on it, so we're just going to set that aside over here, and now we're going to work on our pages. So you should have 8 pages ready to go. And these, and of course I don't have my notes right next to me, but these measure 7 by 5. So you'll need 8 of these. And then you're going to need 4 pieces that measure 8 by 4. These are your pockets. We're going to make 4 pocket pages, and we're going to have 4 waterfall pages. Now the pockets here are really kind of interesting because what they're going to do is they're going to wrap around the base of your page, and we're going to make tabs, and they'll adhere to each side of the page. So you end up having a pocket on each side, and it'll be a full pocket because you won't have to glue the bottom. So let's show you how to do that. So first of all, and in the scoring guide, you're going to have all this ready to go, but we're going to go ahead and go through it once real quick, and then we'll finish the job. So on the 4-inch side of your 4x8 piece of paper, you're going to score at 2. And then you're going to turn it on the 8-inch side, and you're going to score at 1/2 and 7.5. Okay, that's going to give you your pockets. So I've got all of those pre-scored, and I actually did make one already because I wanted to show you what it was going to look like when we're done. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to fold and burnish down the middle. And then I found it easier to just cut these pieces right now. So you're going to go in the corner and you're just going to miter these 2 tabs while this is folded. Okay? That's going to be just the easiest thing to do. All right, just a little miter. Ugh, if I can get my fingers to work. I've had an awful tendonitis going on in my left elbow too, so having some fun with that. Then I opened it up and then just fold the tabs over and burnish those down, okay? We're going to do this with all 4 pieces. Just like that, okay? So you should have a piece that'll look like that when you open it up. And then you'll fold those tabs in after we've mitered them, and then those will fold up like that, okay? So let's get the other 3 done. You're going to have the scoring all done for this already. I'm going to give you all of the instructions so that we can hopefully really get through this pretty quickly during this video, because I know that it's a challenge. All right. So again, you'll need 4 of these pockets, and you will need 8 pages that measure 7 by 5. Get rid of these little bitty pieces. My floor is a mess. Okay, so, and fold and burnish. I'm trying to watch the clock and make sure that I stay within my time. All right. Okay, so this is really, really, really super simple. So we're just going to sandwich these in on the 4 pages. So grab your glue and put some glue on these. Getting all excited here. All right, so we're going to put glue on our tabs. Going to grab our page. You're going to just line that up on the edge of the tab to the score line, not in the score line, and adhere that down. And again, you do not need to glue this because it's going to fold right over and create the bottom closure. So it's a pretty simple way of making a pocket on both sides of a page that gives you the full size of the pocket. All right, and we're just going to glue that down. Make sure we got a good stick. And there's your pocket, all done. 1 on each side. Okay, so let's do it again. Okay, so we have 4 of our pocket pages and we have 4 of our regular pages. And then you're going to have your pattern paper all ready to go and your pattern paper for your pocket pieces. All right, so I've got that all ready to go. Then you'll just need to decide what order, of course, you want, you know, your papers, but I have them all ready. So again, I used my strips here to create a kind of a collage-y, patchworky pocket piece. And these pieces measure 6 7/8 by 1 7/8, so you'll need 8 of these. And then to cover your pages and then to cover your pockets, you're going to need all of these papers, and they measure, I always do this backwards, 6 7/8, I want to make sure, by 4 7/8, and that'll give you a nice little border. Okay, so I have those kind of in order of how I'm going to do it. So we'll do it like this, and then it's going to alternate page, pocket. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our glue. And the important part for this is you really need to do this before you punch the holes. So we're going to do that really quick. Okay. Just going to do that. And then I'm going to turn it over. Here's the paper for my second side. I had this all kind of laid out, so you can do that too. Now you will need 16 of these all together. You will need 8 to cover your pages for your waterfall, and then you will need 8 for your pockets. Okay, so there's my page number 1 all ready to go. Then my pocket page here. What I'm going to do, this is how I do them. So I don't put the glue on and then put them in the pockets. I put them in the pocket first. And scooch them down and get them lined up where I want them. Like so. I like a lot of times to use a full-size piece of paper because then it covers the tabs on the inside, especially I'm going to throw those over there, especially if you have tabs on the bottom, because it'll cover that and then the tags won't stick. And then I just carefully lift it up and then lay it down like that. You don't really need glue in the very bottom of it because that's going to be, you know, held with the pocket. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a pocket piece, put my glue on. And again, this goes really, really super quick. If you have all your pieces ready to go. All right, next page. I'm going to insert that. I have inked the edges. Sorry about that. All right, this is the last pocket. Okie dokie. There we go. So now we have our pages. All of our pages are covered. Now we can look at the binding of this, and they're going to be 2 book rings. And we're going to need to punch some holes. Okay, so we have our pages, and it's going to start with that page here, and then we're going to grab our covers. All right, so we got the front cover and the back cover, and then we're going to grab our crocodile, and then I'm also going to grab this piece of paper. Now this piece of paper is 7 by 5, and what I did was I measured 3/8 of an inch up from the side here and drew a pencil line, and then I found the center point with my centering ruler, and I measured 1.5 inches on either side of that center point and put a dot, and then that's where I punched a hole. This is going to be my template for making my punches. Now obviously this is going to be smaller than my my book cover, but I'm just simply going to center that on there, and I'm going to make it flush with that side, the left side. And when I'm happy with the placement, then I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dile, and I'm going to go ahead and punch holes. I set my Crop-A-Dile at 3/8 of an inch using my little stopper here. So then it's just a matter of putting it in there, and I like to put it in where I can see the hole and line it up flush and then punch my hole. And that is as simple as that for doing that. And if you can get the piece out so that you can see what you're doing, that's always a good thing too. So let's do that. Okay. And then just put it in, punch your hole. If it's easier for you to keep that lined up, you know, if you have a hard time holding on to it while you're doing this, you can always use a binder clip and clip to the edge of your page like this to hold it in place while you go ahead and do that. Okay, so there I have the holes, and then I'm just simply going to do this for all my pages. Is since you already have your back cover done, you can lay that on top of your cover, and you can grab a pencil, and a mechanical pencil works best because you can make the lead pretty long, and you could put that in the hole and color it. I don't know if you can see that really well. It is kind of dark, but you can do that, and then that way you can make sure that the holes line up perfect for your covers. Okay, so there we are. We're almost there. Let's see if I could see that. There we go. Okay, so now we have our holes punched. So the book rings that I had, I know that they make them in colors that more match the antique gold in the corner that I used, but I couldn't find them in the stores, and I had run out because I had used them. So I grabbed the silver ones, and I went ahead and dyed them myself. So I used some Tim Holtz Adirondack ink, alcohol ink and latte, and then I put in a little gold mixative, and I put them in this Ziploc bag, and you can see that they're in there, and then I put the book rings in there, smushed them all around, and then let them dry, and that kind of created a more antique-y gold look to my book ring rather than the silver that wasn't really going to match. So that is something that you could do to go ahead and color, you know, metal rings if you know, you wanted a different color. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that really, really quick. Here's my front cover. Okay. Okay, so then we can go ahead and there's our ring. So that's why that's important. It needs to go through the paper, the patterned paper, in order to make the rings. Okay, so let's move on really quick because we can bind this later. let's go ahead and look at the Booklet Waterfall. So the Booklet Waterfall, you're going to need 8 pieces that are 10 by 3.5, and you're going to need 8 pieces that are 5 by 3.5. And on the 10 by 3.5 here, you're going to score at 4.5. So you're going to just put it in your scoreboard. And you're going to score each of these on the 10-inch side at 4.5. You're going to do all 8 of those. And then each of these pages, they're 5 by 3.5. On the 5-inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. We're going to do that to all of them, and you should have those already prepared. So then it's just a matter of putting these guys together. So you're just going to, you don't have to miter the corners on the waterfall. You're just going to do that. And then you're going to take a 10-inch piece and you're going to do this. Fold it over and burnish. All right. Then what we're going to do is you're going to glue this to here. Just like that. All right. Just like that. So the tab goes right against that score that we did at the 4.5, and then that will flip the page this way, and then you will end up with a nice little waterfall, and you're going to have places for pictures. You can put a picture on the front here, or you can put pattern paper or whatever you want. Picture, 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 picture. So you have at least 4, if not 5 places to put pictures as we have, as I have designed this. Okay, so I grabbed my pages. We're going to put these on to the pages without pockets. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put this on my marking mat here. And what I'm doing is I'm lining it up so that the top edge is at a 3/4 inch mark. What that does is it gives me a center line here really easily, where I can put this down all the way across, and I know that I'm right in the middle. So I'm going to put a line of score tape there, and then I grabbed my ribbon, and these are about 1 yard long. You probably don't need them that long, but that's what I had because that's kind of how I store my ribbon. And just line that up like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take some glue and put glue all over this. Make sure it's glued down nice. And then grab your page, and we're going to really carefully flip this guy over, and then you're just going to lay that down and center it on your project. And you're going to have about a 3/4 inch space on all 4 sides. Okay? So then when you lay it down, just open it up, press it down on that seam, and then open that page up, press it down on the back, and then you are good to go. And then all that's left to do is decorate that however you want, or not. You could leave it plain and just have it ready for pictures. So you don't even have to put any pattern paper on this if you don't want to. You could put like some sort of a title. If you have journaling cards that are all horizontal, then you can go ahead and use those on the fronts, and then you still will have 4 places for pictures in the back. Okay, and then just simply tie your ribbon and trim your ends. And if you're like me, then I'll go back with some fray check and I'll go ahead and put a little fray check on those ribbons, and then we'll be done. So you're going to do that on the front and the back of that. And there you have it. So then all of your pages will have a waterfall booklet on them that you can put your pictures on, and then the corresponding pages will have your recipes. And then you can get recipe cards anywhere. I know there's a lot of free printables online. You can create your own. I ended up getting mine from Hobby Lobby. And there it is. I got these for Hobby Lobby. They were only $4 for a pack of 25. So really nice little recipe cards. And then just, you know, put a couple in your pockets. And this will make a nice traditional recipe book for yourself. This will make a really nice recipe book to give as a gift. This would be really good for newlyweds. You know, this would be a good gift for any time. So I'm just going to real quick show you the binding. And, oh, you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to show you the other thing I made. So I made a charm to go with this. And again, I had these are Tim Holtz fork, knife, spoon that I had in my stash. They were silver, didn't want silver, I wanted gold, so I did the same technique to dye these with the Adirondack ink and the gold mixative. And then I'm just going to simply put that on there so that I have that. So then I just find the hole. And then I usually find it easier to do it this way. I don't know why, but I do. Kind of helps hold them open so you can put your pages in. And then this guy should be dry. So then I'm simply going to glue this on the front cover. Just like that. And that's going to be our book. So you can see that makes a really cute element for the front of our book. Really super cute element. So then I'm just going to use the art glitter glue again, and I'm going to put that down and I'm going to clamp that, and then that's going to be the cover. And then when you open it up, you can decorate this however you want. Let me get there we go. You can decorate this however you want. This would be cute. You could put a little envelope here for a secret recipe. You're going to have some pictures here, and then pockets for lots of recipes. So again, waterfalls go here, and this just is a really cute, really nice album. And then the other thing too is I wanted to say is that this album, I meant it to not be bound with the recipe cards, because if you don't want to get your recipe book messed up while you're cooking, you can take these out. The other thing that I did, and I'm going to include this in the book. So I went on my Silhouette computer program, and I bought the commercial license for this. It's called an easel for a card, and I will have a link below to where you can get that if you'd like to, but it's just a simple easel made out of the artisan cardstock, brown and ivory. And then my idea is I'm going to put it in the last page of this album, in the last pocket, and then that way you'll always have an easel ready to hold your recipe card when you go to the kitchen. So you can take your recipe card into the kitchen. You don't have to take the whole book, and then you don't have a risk of messing it up with your cooking. So this will fit in the pocket just perfect. You can put extra recipe cards back here, and that is my project. I hope y'all liked it. Again, trying to stay within my time frame, so this will just get glued on. Thank you for watching. Happy New Year's Eve, and I'm really looking forward to everything crafty with you in the next year. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a good night. Bye-bye.